Ungovernables, the captain's crew, the LFA family, McGroin Nation. We are coming to you live from the deep red state of Tennessee on rumble.com/LFA TV. Welcome to Ungoverned. Happy Wednesday to you, to everybody, especially those of you in the great states of Indiana, Ohio, and right here in the great state of Tennessee. A huge day yesterday. By the way, I would be remiss if I didn't say happy Star Wars Day again. Today is Revenge of the Sixth. So it is the final edition of Star Wars Day. Although, you know, if you're as big a Star Wars fan as I am, every day is Star Wars Day. But that's okay. It was a good night for the good guys last night. Everywhere. It was a good night for the good guys last night. In Indiana, I think you saw 6 out of 7. Right? In Indiana, you saw 6 out of 7 of those squishy Senate RINOs who wanted to, or they didn't want to, they successfully rejected the redistricting efforts to try and squeeze a couple more seats out of Indiana. 6 out of 7 of them are gone. See ya. See you later. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Bye. Bye. In Ohio, Vivek Ramaswamy won his primary. I know there's, mixed feelings on him and some of the things that he said and all of these. The fact of the matter is, you had these folks that were acting like it was going to be a lot closer than it was. It wasn't close. And I know that there are prediction markets that are saying that Vivek is going to lose the governor's race in Ohio. I don't see it. I don't see it. I mean, he's got work to do, but I just don't see that happening when all is said and done in November. That's not to say that you can coast and put your feet up and act like it's a given if you're in Ohio. It's not. And it is perfectly fine to, ask Vivek Ramaswamy at this point in time. Maybe you did support somebody else in the primary. I don't know. It is perfectly fine to ask him to earn your vote. That's fine too. You've got 6 months before the general election in Ohio. And here in Tennessee, and I don't want to just make light of it or do something short about it, we had a huge night last night. And we're going to talk about that here in just a second because, I mean, that could be the whole show. It's not going to be the whole show, but that could be the whole show because what Brennan and I experienced last night, and not just last night, but the last few months, is how it should be. By it, what is it? How politics should be. How a campaign should be run. How a group of volunteers should conduct themselves. How a candidate should present himself or herself. Last night and the last couple of months that we were involved with the Kenneth Barrett for Sheriff campaign, what we experienced is the way it should be. And it's not hard. Not to say the work is not hard. But to do what was done here in Rutherford County, Tennessee, anybody can do this. I'm not trying to take away from the work that was done, but we'll get into it. It's not a complicated formula. So let me get to a word from our friends over at OFP Farms because we're going to celebrate all morning. It's going to be a feel-good morning. There's a lot of feel-good stories. Last night, bottom line, was a great night for the good guys. You want to, they say, punch a Nazi. Don't do that because that's against the law. Unless, of course, the Nazi swings first. But flip off a doomer today. MAGA is dead? You think so? I don't think so. All right, let me get to a word from our friends at OFP Farms. It is OFPFarms.com, promo code Sean. Mother's Day right around the corner. Take a look. OFPfarms.com, promo code SHAWN. OFPfarms.com, promo code Sean. Folks, Mother's Day right around the corner. You got to get in while the getting's good. 20% off. Their Mother's Day gift boxes are more than just a gift. They are an absolute experience. This Mother's Day, give mom more than a gift. Give her a moment to feel pampered and truly treasured at OFP Farms. Every single product is handcrafted right on their farm using fresh goat milk and grass-fed tallow. Rich, nourishing ingredients that her skin will love. It is more than just skincare. It is a daily reminder that she deserves to slow down, care for herself, and feel appreciated. For a limited time, enjoy 20% off your entire order with the code Sean, SHAWN. Clean ingredients, small batches, real results. It's an experience. These boxes, you open it up, and you're like, wow, this was put together with a little bit of TLC, tender love and care. We love it. OFPfarms.com, OFPfarms.com. From the farm to your mom's skin, because mom deserves to feel this good every day, not just on Mother's Day. OFPfarms.com, promo code Sean, SHAWN. This 20% off sale runs until May 10th, which is Mother's Day. That is, once again, OFP, Oscar Foxtrot Papa, farms.com, promo code SHAWN. Next up, next sponsor, a word from our friends at Armra Colostrum. I am now a full-fledged believer in colostrum. This stuff is, well, it's great. It really is. Nature's first food. It is a superfood. You know, I'm always looking out for ways to strengthen my immunity, my gut health, improve my fitness and metabolism, enhance my skin and hair radiance. That is what Armra Colostrum can do for you, and then some. Colostrum is the first nutrition that we get in life and contains all the essential nutrients that our bodies need in order to thrive. Colostrum can help reactivate your hair growth and help your skin glow, can help fortify your gut health and ignite your metabolism, and it can help fuel your fitness performance and recovery. Why would you not want to take this stuff? Especially when I tell you that you can get it for 30% off at tryarmor.com/LFATV, TRYARMOR.com/LFATV. That is TRYARMOR.com/LFATV for up to 30% off. 30% off. TryArmor.com/LFATV, TRYARMOR.com/LFATV. All right. Indiana was a big deal. Ohio was a big deal. But we're going to go hyper-local just for a little bit. Because this is how politics can be, and this is how politics should be. A lot of people, whether it's at the dinner table, family gatherings, you know, wherever you're at, maybe it's a church service, they go, oh, I don't want to get involved. It's too nasty. And they're not wrong. It's very nasty. Or it could be very nasty. And in many cases, it gets very nasty. For no reason other than people just want to win, and they let their worst side of them come out. We've seen this. Seen it back in New York. If Jackie's in the chat, I'm not sure if Jackie's in the chat this morning. She's in the chat. Jackie knows exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, the story, we could write a book about all the crazy. I learned new stuff about myself every day when I lived on Long Island the last couple months. New stuff. It was great. It's always funny that we were accused of taking like absurd amounts of money, and the number kept going up. It was like we were getting interest. It was great. Politics does not have to be a nasty experience. There may be nasty things that happen in a campaign, but it doesn't need to be a nasty experience. Let me have your ear for, well, I have your ear for about an hour, but let me have your undivided attention for just a second. Okay? I put this little post together, a longer post together this morning, and I just want to use it as a guideline to go over what happened here in Rutherford County, Tennessee last night, because it was freaking awesome. Let's rewind back to March of 2025. Brennan and I were swatted at our home. And while that was a terrible experience, and it was a terrible experience, rather than kind of spiral into this kind of self-wallowing, this, you know, we're not throwing a pity party. We're going to turn it into fuel. That's what we did. That became, they say, what is your why? That became our why. March of 2025. Rutherford County Sheriff's Office. And by the way, they conducted themselves professionally. They did everything right here. And thankfully, that's how they handled themselves, because it could have gone a lot different. March of 2025 was a terrible experience for us. And that would become our why. That would become our fuel. You know me, I love local politics, whether it was in New York. Now we're settled in Tennessee. So last November, I was invited to speak at an event here in our county. And after I had done my bit on stage, we met a man by the name of Kenneth Barrett. This was November of 2025. And he introduced himself as a man who was running for Rutherford County Sheriff. I said, Sheriff, huh? Interesting. So I grabbed Brennan. I said, Brennan, this man right here, Kenneth Barrett, he's running for sheriff. He's running for sheriff of Rutherford County. And that night we got this business card right here from him, this campaign, November of 2025. And he was surrounded by a fairly large group of people, none of whom we've ever met before. We wound up meeting the man who told us he remembered that SWAT call that sent, an unbelievable number of heavily armed police officers to our home in March 2025. And he remembered saying, if these really were actual gunshots, if this was a real situation, more people probably would have called it in and said they heard gunshots. Instead, it was just that, one fake call that came in. The guy was pretending to be me. And so that's the reason why Rutherford County Sheriff's Office actually called me before pounding on the door. That was a man that was with Kenneth Barrett that night. So coming out of that conversation, I said, this guy surrounds himself with pretty good people. Obviously, with what we went through in March of 2025, hearing and talking with somebody who says they're running for county sheriff, it piqued our interest. We then got to know Kenneth, his family, and his campaign in the early stages of January of 2026. We met them at another county event. State Representative Mike Sparks had a chili cook-off. He was hanging out there. We talked again. We went to dinner a couple of weeks later. After those conversations with Kenneth and his amazing wife, Sandy, and other members of the campaign team, we decided, we'd go to a fundraiser, right? Steaks and Sweethearts. And that was a packed out room. And we saw the energy. We had, a couple more good experiences with members of the campaign there. We said, we're going to volunteer. We're going to help them in the primary alongside many other incredible volunteers in this county, Rutherford County, Tennessee. Well, last night, Kenneth Barrett won the GOP primary for Rutherford County Sheriff in Tennessee by 22 points. It was a three-way race. This campaign was run and managed by people who never ran a political campaign before. Very talented, very qualified people. His campaign manager, Jennifer Yates, is an event planner, super organized, on top of everything, but never ran a political campaign before. Kenneth had never run for office before. They paid attention to politics, but were never the name on the ballot. When I tell you that this campaign did everything right, I mean everything. You know why? Because they didn't overcomplicate it. Nothing was forced. Nothing was fake. There were no lies that needed to be propped up and maintained. It was genuine. The candidate, Kenneth Barrett, was visible and transparent for a year and a half. If there was an event in this county, he was going to be there. The volunteers remained positive, as hard as that was, and stayed out of the negative social media chatter surrounding this race and other races in this county. Things got nasty here. The hard work was done on the ground, door to door, putting up signs, all the way up to the night before the election. 30 plus people getting together in one room, reaching over 3,000 voters by text, one by one. Not press a button, robocall, one by one, the night before the election. I've worked on and I've been involved with a lot of campaigns over the last 6+ years. And none of them were as fun to work with as this one. Not because of the end result, right? Not just because we won, because of the people. The candidate, the campaign leadership, the volunteer base, the friendships that we made, and the experiences that we all shared together. That's the way this is supposed to be. Find a reason to get involved in your local politics. And I hope it's not because you get swatted. Find a reason, whatever your cause is. If it's education, if it's your tax rate, if it's some sort of environmental cause, whatever it may be, find a reason to get involved in your local politics. Find a candidate to rally around. Build your government from the ground up. Find your why and jump in. If we all do this, we can't lose. Last night's experience, that payoff last night, the jubilation in that room, it was just great. But the craziest part about it and the best part about it is the feeling in the room last night was the same feeling. I mean, yeah, there was some anxiety and like, oh my gosh, I just want this to be over and I can't wait till we get the results. But this campaign was positive. The term happy warrior, like the late Phyllis Schlafly would be proud of what this campaign did. This campaign, this Kenneth Barrett for Sheriff campaign ought to be studied. It goes to show you, you don't need fancy consultants. You don't need to reinvent the wheel. You don't need to this is polling well in this. Just get out, be yourselves, be genuine, be happy, talk about your campaign with a smile. And folks, this is what happens. Look at these results. 52% of the vote in a three-way race. It wasn't even close. He had a 2,300 vote lead after early voting. It wasn't even close. And this right here says it all, this picture. It's Kenneth. His wife is over there on the left in the red, and his two daughters right there in the middle, all smiles. And that is the way it was the entire campaign. That's the way it should be. That's the way it could be. That's the way it will be if we want to make it that way. Get involved. I can't stress this enough. And we still have one more election to win. August 6th is the general here in Rutherford County, Tennessee. So he's not the next sheriff-elect yet, but you win the Republican primary in Rutherford County, you're generally presumed. You know, it's barring something very bad, he will be the next sheriff of Rutherford County. So an amazing group of people that we've gotten to know outside of just the political, hey, we're going to the campaign. They're our friends. Amazing. I even got a new hat. Our boy Seth, he's like, here's a hat. Look at this hat. This hat's beautiful. It's great. And to put a bow on this whole thing, as we were leaving last night, Kenneth's older daughter, Kylie, she stops and goes, can you please do it? I'm thinking Trump for a friend of hers. No, can you please do the turtle from Finding? They get a kick out of me doing the turtle. So we had to, you so totally rock, squirt. Well, give me some fin. Brennan didn't give me some fin.
I totally dropped
she
the ball
spaced out.
On that one.
I was like, give me the fin.
I was fried by that point.
Noggin. Dude. All right.
You never really know, but when they know, you'll know, you know?
I'll tell you what, it was a great experience all around. Great experience all around. And so fine, you sent the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office to our house, and we just decided we were going to play a role in electing the new sheriff. No big deal.
Well, now we have a bunch of good friends.
That's it. And a bunch of good friends. Bam. All right, let's get to let me take a quick break. I wanted to go through that and just give you that. Folks, I'm just telling you, this campaign, Jennifer Yates, her husband Steve, and so many other folks that were involved in this campaign, they did. When I tell you they did everything right, you should study it. But you don't really have to study it. You just have to do the right thing. What did Kenneth say last night on stage? If you always do the right thing, you'll never be wrong. It's that simple. And there's nobody. And there was plenty of chatter, negative, all the crap that was being said about people. And he kept telling everybody, don't get involved in that. That's what they wanted. They wanted us to get in the weeds in social media. They wanted to bring the campaign down to their level, and it just didn't happen. It's great.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
Jelly Bean doesn't even know it's walking around in the sheriff's yard.
Jelly Bean. Yes. Kenneth there's a stray cat that wanders around Kenneth's yard that he calls Jelly Bean. And that cat has no idea its name is Jelly Bean. He said, "What's up, Jelly Bean?" The cat just kept walking. Brendan goes, "That cat has no idea his name is Jelly Bean." Kenneth damn near spit out his drink. It was Jelly Bean. Jelly Bean has no idea he's living with the sheriff.
I know.
That's so funny. Way to go, Jelly Bean. Even
That's
Jelly
a good
Bean.
place to squat.
Even Jelly Bean had a good night. All right. Even Jelly Bean had a good night. Just an amazing group of people.
Oh yeah.
You know, just an amazing. He said about Laura Kuntz, right? They got a Brady bunch. Just like, I don't know, 90 kids in that family.
There's so many kids.
And the youngest is like the craziest, little Isla, right?
She's so good though. Like
maniac.
she's got a lot of energy, but it's like good. It's not destructive. It's good.
She's not destructive. She's
just
a
always,
life force.
She is. I really like that whole group of people.
Great group of people. Fan and Nick and all these guys. I mean, I can go through the Cody. Oh, you gotta love Cody.
Oh yeah.
Cody starts
like
every
an
meeting.
Oak tree just walking around. He's so tall.
He's an oak tree, but he starts every meeting with a prayer, and everybody stays grounded, and it's just a great group. I'll tell you, it's like quintessential Tennessee.
Yeah.
That's what you expect. Mm-hmm. And that's what we got.
Good old boys taking control and taking over and getting stuff done.
How it is.
Yeah.
And just so many hard workers. It was just amazing. It's amazing. So there's your feel-good story of the morning. Folks, it's possible to do it. Do it. Get involved in your local politics. You're not every campaign that you're going to get involved in is going to be a winner. But I guarantee you're going to have experiences like this. You're going to meet friends. You're going to get back together and do it again in the next campaign cycle. And I don't think you'll regret doing that. If we all do that, we will never lose. All right. A quick word from our friends at Silent. Folks, let's face it. Your phone is a tracking device. Between government agencies, big tech, corporate data brokers, even those pesky cyber criminals, they are all fighting for a piece of your digital footprint. And the craziest part about it is they're not asking. They just take it, right? They just take your data. You're not supposed to do that. Listen, that is why Silent exists. Silent makes Faraday gear that blocks all wireless signals, including cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, RFID, and near-field communications. No signal means no tracking, no remote access, and no breadcrumbs. It is the same technology trusted by special operations teams around the world used to block signals, avoid surveillance, and secure communications wherever the mission leads. And right now, it is available to you. To protect your family, protect your freedom, and secure your digital footprint, all you got to do is drop your phone in a Silent Faraday sleeve, and it is off the grid, completely silent and invisible to the outside world. From their backpacks to their sleeves to their crossbody, Silent's patented technology gives you total control of your privacy. Just visit slnt.com/Sean. Get 15% off and free shipping on qualifying orders. That is slnt.com/Sean. Protect your rights, secure your data, and stay one step ahead. Silent.com, slnt.com. Silence! Silence the chaos. Go silent today. slnt.com/SHAWN. All right. Let's go to Indiana. Anybody from Indiana in the chat? Indiana. Big night. It was a big night for Indiana last night. 6 out of the 7. 6, 7. Got to do it.
No.
I know it's not the thing anymore, but it's like stuck in my head. 6'7". It means nothing. I remember we were at that Turning Point event like last October, that Taylor Sharp, and he was kept doing it, and I kept doing it to him. He kept getting the biggest kick out of it. I said, Taylor, what does this mean? He says, it just means 6'7". I said, stop messing with me. What? He goes, no, it really genuinely means nothing. Okay. Indiana Rhino bloodbath. Bloodbath, folks. Indiana Rhino bloodbath. Rhinos lose bigly in Indiana. Several Rhino state senators on Tuesday evening, 6 out of 7 of them, lost their primary elections. Trump-endorsed candidates swept Indiana on Tuesday night. Excuse me. I thought MAGA was dead. Oh, your MAGA movement's dead, bro. There's no more MAGA. The support is completely falling apart. Oh, yeah? Okay, Doomer. Indiana Rhino bloodbath. In December, President Trump unleashed on the spineless Indiana Republicans who torpedoed a slam dunk redistricting bill that would have handed the GOP a 9-0 congressional stranglehold on Indiana. As the Gateway Pundit reported, by the way, keep Jim and Joe Hoft, the brothers, in your prayers. They're dealing with some medical stuff. One of them just had a stroke. So keep them in your prayers. The Indiana State Senate stunningly killed a proposed congressional redistricting map that would have not locked in a 9-0 Republican congressional delegation, even though Republicans hold 40 of the chamber's 50 seats. The bill failed after more than half the Senate Republicans voted against it, effectively doing the Democrats' work for them. There were 21 Republicans who voted no. 21 Republicans who voted no. And many of them were unseated last night. State Senator Travis Holdman, who had served in the state Senate since 2008 and is the third most powerful Republican in the chamber, gone, defeated by real estate agent Blake Feicher. 80-year-old State Senator Jim Buck, unseated by Tipton County Commission member Tracy Powell after serving in the legislature since 1994. Jim Buck was facing his first primary since joining the Senate in 2008, had the support of Mike Pence, the former vice president and Indiana governor. State Senator Greg Walker was set to retire last year after 20 years in the chamber, but reversed course amid the redistricting fight, where he notably broke down in tears, speaking about his fear for the future of the party and if the legislature caved to Donald Trump's demands. He lost to State Representative Michelle Davis, who launched her campaign before Walker decided to run again, but ended up staying in the primary race and won Trump's endorsement. Elsewhere, State Senator Linda Rogers, who owns and manages a golf course and a home building company, lost her primary to Dr. Brian Schmutzler, an anesthesiologist. And State Senator Dan Dernolk, who represents a district in the northern part of the state near Chicago, was defeated by Trevor DeVries, an insurance broker. The only state senator who won appears to be Greg Good. Good bested Vigo County Councilmember Brenda Wilson, who was backed by Trump and Alexandra Wilson, a network engineer. But the bottom line is many of the Senate rhinos who were up for re-election lost their primaries. Folks, lock in real quick. The time to take out your frustration with the GOP is not in the general election. It is in the primary. If you are unsatisfied with what your representatives are doing in Congress, at the state level, in the legislature, whether it's at the Senate or the House or whatever, however your legislature is composed in your states, at the county level, on your county commission or council or whatever it's called in your county, at the school board level, at the library board level, at the HOA level. If you are unsatisfied with your representation from your elected officials, The time to take out that frustration is not in the general election. I'm sitting out the midterms. That's not going to help you, because if you do that, you're now making it more likely that a Democrat is going to take power. And if you think your representation is bad with a rhino, well, we lived through 4 years of Democrat control, and it wasn't fun, was it? No, it was not fun. The time to take out your frustration on bad or inadequate, what you deem inadequate, leadership and representation from GOP representatives is in the primary. Get involved in your primary. Oh, what's the matter? They're just going to rig it anyway. Really? Did they rig it in Indiana? 6 out of 7 squishy rhinos who were on, who had a primary challenge, who rejected the redistricting efforts, lost. That is how it gets done. That is how you affect change. The only reason I don't say that the primary is more important than the general is because in the general, you are running against the Democrat. But the primary is just as important as the general, because that is where you select your candidates. That is how you get better candidates, through the primaries. If you're unhappy with your representative Maria Salazar in Florida because she's backing the Dignity Act, then get behind a primary challenger. Even if they don't win, get involved there, because when you put a challenge and you put an alternative on that primary ballot, it's more than just a name on a piece of paper. What is it when you get a primary challenge, when you get another name on that ballot? It's ideas. Clearly, they're two different candidates. They have different ideas somewhere. And the best thing about our side of the aisle, more ideas, not less. More speech, not less. More conversations, not less. The free exchange of ideas is alive and well on our side of the aisle. Get involved in your primaries. Even if you don't think your candidate can win and your candidate just represents a niche, whether it's MAHA, whether it's education, whether it's taxes, whether it's some local issue in your community, get that candidate and that idea on the ballot. Because even if you lose the primary, you can then take that coalition that got behind the candidate who you supported and meet with the candidate who won the primary and say, listen, we want to support you in the general against the Democrats, but we need your commitment that you're going to represent this niche issue. And if you do, then you will win the support of that candidate who got 13 or 14 or 20 or 30 or 40% of the vote. That is how it's done, guys. It's not easy. It takes a lot of time. It is annoying. It is cumbersome, but that is how we win. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Even if you lose a primary, the ideas that set you apart from the other candidates on the ballot and the winning candidate on the ballot still have a chance to be incorporated into that candidate's platform in order to earn your vote. Now, I understand, what if that candidate gets in office and they just betray their promises? Fine. Then guess what? In a couple of years, you do it again. Look at Brandon Herrera in Texas. He went through a couple of cycles where he lost until this cycle where he won. And he's going to go to Congress. It is so important to take over your primaries, to be involved in your primaries. You're not always going to win. But when your candidate, if your candidate doesn't win and your candidate represents that niche, that education niche, that MAHA niche, whatever taxation, or it's books in a library, or it's whatever. If your candidate represents that idea that sets him or her apart from the others, and the others win, and your candidate doesn't, you can take that coalition to the winning candidate and say, if you want our support, we need you to get behind this cause. And then your idea still survives the primary. Then your niche still survives the primary. That is how you make change. And it happens incrementally. One by one, little by little, chip away at that foundation. Swing that sledgehammer and just keep going. That is how you do this. That is how it gets done. So to anybody who wants to tell you, oh, the system is broken. There's no hope. MAGA is dead. MAGA is not dead. MAGA is alive and well. MAGA is the people who care, who don't just bitch and moan on social media all day. Oh, nothing is happening. I'm voting Democrat. Yeah. You're not helping anybody win. But the people who we worked with the Barrett campaign, the folks who were involved up there in Indiana, the folks who were involved up in Ohio in Vivek's primary and the other statewide races in Ohio that went very well for MAGA candidates. Those are the people who are actually doing real world stuff that are going to achieve real world results. And that means a hell of a lot more than your little ratios on the internet. It means a hell of a lot more than the amount of clicks you generate on your podcast. It means a hell of a lot more than the amount of money you may be bringing in on X or YouTube, or the amount of followers you may have on Instagram or TikTok, or the amount of live stream views you have in real time while you're on. What means the most? It's the real world results, the real world actions, and the real world work done by real world people. And that is why MAGA is not dead. And it was proven last night in Indiana, in Ohio, and right here in Rutherford County, Tennessee. So to the doomers, get some. Or shut the fuck up and get involved in your communities. Tired of all this online whining. When's the last time you think the Hodge twins knocked on a door? When's the last, oh, well, they're too high profile. Nobody gives a damn who they are. Hell, they don't even know who they are. They don't know their ass from their elbow. When's the last time you saw Candace Owens knock on a door? Oh, the security threat. Really? She was out among strangers not too long ago. Give me a break. Get out and do something in the real world. All right. Let's take another break. Let's do a little bit from Cove Pure. Okay? Cove Pure is, listen, there was a conversation in this county about the landfill and about what it's doing to our drinking water. We didn't even know that there's potentially some really bad things getting, seeping into our drinking water in this county. Last year, we dealt with when the lake turns over, the algae, and it tasted like, I can't even think about.
Oh no,
that's not an act.
Oh no, oh my gosh,
I can't even think about what it tasted like. It was so disgusting. Ugh. Stop! I got to think of something else.
Think about
Coke
Rice
beer.
Krispie treats.
Rice Krispie treats. Yeah, Rice Krispie treats. Yum.
Okay.
We started drinking the bottled water last year when that whole thing happened. And now, now we have this partnership with Cove Pure, and we're never going to have to worry about that again because this thing is amazing. Cove Pure, folks, your water. This is very important. You drink it every day. You don't want to be drinking bad water. You don't want to be drinking water with chemicals in it or, bad organic material or even just water that tastes bad. You don't want to do that. Okay? You don't want to do that. Folks, if Flint, Michigan taught this country anything, is that the government's word on your water is worth exactly nothing. And Flint wasn't a one-off. The problem is everywhere. That is why we purify every drop of water in this house with Cove Pure. Here's what the government doesn't tell you about your drinking water. The testing method that utilities use to check lead levels is specifically designed to collect the least contaminated sample, not the worst. Listen, lead has no taste. It has no smell, and it does not change the color of your water, so it's almost impossible for you to detect. But here's the scary part. There is no safe level of lead exposure. None. Even very low levels of lead are directly linked to brain damage, learning disabilities, and irreversible developmental harm in children. Cove Pure removes that from the equation. It's certified to eliminate up to 99.9% of contaminants. That includes lead, but also includes PFAS, fluoride, and pharmaceuticals. And setup could not be easier. No plumbers, no drilling. You just put it on your counter, you fill it up, and you plug it in. And the Cove Pure does the rest of the work. It filters out what's, total dissolved solids. TDS, it says it on the screen. You can make so many jokes about it. Like, hey, we're removing the TDS from our water so we don't wind up like some other crazy people out there. We don't get sick, both physically and in the head. My wife loves it. Brennan loves her Cove Pure. She loves the instant hot feature. You can go in there, boom, boiling water comes out of the Cove Pure in seconds. Mm-hmm. It is awesome. You don't have to wait for any kettles to boil. One tap, and it is ready to go instantly. Your city says it tested the water, says it's fine. Don't worry about it. Drink it. Flint, Michigan did the same thing. Cove Pure is what you put in between that track record and your family's water. So go to covepure.com/Sean. Because you're a listener of the show, you're going to get $250 off for a limited time. That is Cove Pure. COVEPURE.com/Sean. $250 off of this amazing investment for your family. If I told you that you could make a lifetime investment in your family and I can give it to you at a $250 discount, you would take it. $250 off. Cove Pure, COVEPURE.com/Sean. I know folks in the chat, they love it. So check it out, covepure.com/SHAWN. Another big news out of Virginia right now. They're starting to panic. We told you about a week and a half ago in Virginia that, the actions of the Virginia State Supreme Court not lifting that preliminary injunction regarding the certification of the referendum with the gerrymandered maps, the new congressional maps. Kind of, we were reading tea leaves a little bit. We're like, no, this might mean this thing's going to fail in court. Folks, Democrats, former Democrat strategist Dan Turrentine reported that leading Democrats in Virginia believe their redistricting plan, which was narrowly approved by voters a couple weeks ago, is not going to survive in court. Quote, what I was told is they now think it's less than 50% that the court will let the certification go through, Turrentine said in a clip posted to X. The time they don't believe is on their side, he added moments later, and what apparently transpired over the weekend, and this person would know, he's talking about a person he was talking to, they're in contact with the people that he says the governor's staff is now snipping at the Senate Majority Leader and House Speaker that they warned them last fall this would not pass legal review. Turrentine made those comments on the Huddle podcast, which he co-hosts with journalist Rachel Bade and former White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer. In other words, Abigail Spanberger's office doubted the legality of Democrats' redistricting plan, but they tried it anyway. And things aren't looking too hot in Virginia. So, again, optimism. You look at Virginia and you go, oh my gosh, they're going to squeeze 4 seats out of it, right? And then Mustard down in Florida, DeSantis was like, wrong.
Mustard.
Wrong. For those of you who don't know why we call him Mustard, you got to listen to 1210 WPHD.
Mustard.
He is just Mustard. It's so I got to actually ask Nick for that drop. I need Mustard on my board.
That's
too.
So funny.
Mustard. It's great. And DeSantis making fun of Hakeem Jeffries. Maximum warfare. It's great. So just think of it. California and Texas kind of cancel each other out. Florida +4 for Republicans. Virginia was going to be a +4 for Democrats, but no, looks like that's going to fail. Louisiana is going to squeeze out a seat. Tennessee is going to squeeze out a seat. Alabama is going to squeeze out, it looks like, 2 more seats. And the great Chad Caton. How about the great Chad Caton? And I'm fired up too on X. I totally forgot about this. Let me get you this information talking about getting involved. And there are few people who are more involved in their local affairs and national affairs, but really local affairs, than the great Chad Caton, who is an incredible guy. Here you go. South Carolina, House Speaker moves to redistrict. They can do it in spite of the governor. Representative Adam Morgan in South Carolina, the House will take up a resolution that includes reapportionment paving the way for a special session. So they may be able to squeeze out more seats in South Carolina as well. Folks, for the love of everything you hold dear, please just get involved. When you get involved, that's where the change happens. That's where the good things happen. I'm telling you right now, not that we're going to win the midterms, but that we've got the best chance that the Republicans have ever had to win the midterms in a year where we also occupied the presidency. We can do this. We are on the precipice of doing something historic in 6 months. Please do not doom her. Please do not blackpill. Please do not check out. More engagement, not less. More participation, not less. If anything, if there's anything you can learn from today's show, more participation, not less. Whether you're in a sheriff's campaign, whether you're in a state senate campaign, whether you're pushing for redistricting in your states, whatever it is, get involved, please. And it doesn't have to be pulling teeth. It can be fun. We worked our butts off, but we had fun with the group of people that we worked with the Kenneth Barrett for sheriff campaign. Please get involved. Okay. I want to pivot to some fun stuff. I've got some fun stuff. But before I do that, I want to get to a word from one of our sponsors, goldencrestmetals.com/LFA.
I'm sure by now you've heard that silver went up 160% last year, 2025. I bought this silver for $22 an ounce. It's now worth almost $100. And we and experts think that silver is going to get up to about $200 an ounce. Palladium and platinum were stuck at $900 an ounce for like over a year, or in that area. Now they're up over $2,000. Gold is approaching $5,000 an ounce. If you have ever thought about putting some or all of your retirement or nest egg or savings or just buying bullion in precious metals, now's the time to do it. goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. That's goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. Go leave your name, your email, and your phone number. Schedule a time to talk to the folks over at Golden Crest Metals. Get your free gold guide today, and make sure you tune in on Saturdays at 1 p.m. for the Crest Report, where we dive deep into precious metals, why they're doing what they're doing, and where we expect them to go. It is like insider trading. Nancy Pelosi knows about that. We don't. It's just inside information. It's not even really that. It's called knowledge. Get yours today and get a part of gold, silver, palladium, and platinum and diversify your portfolio today. goldencrestmetals.com/LFA.
goldencrestmetals.com/LFA. Thank you, Jeremy and Golden Crest, for being a part of the show. Rosebud1990 in the chat. Great question. Says, what's your opinion on yard signs? Do you think they move the needle? Let me make this analogy for you. Alone, they don't win elections. But they work. There's a synergy between the yard signs and the placement of these signs and the candidate's name being visible around the area where he or she is running. And then when you go knock on a door, like, for example, Brendan's talking about it in the chat too, when we would be knocking on doors and I would ask, we're here with Kenneth Barrett for sheriff. Have you heard of Kenneth? And a lot of times, how many times, Brendan, did we hear? Yeah, I see his signs, right?
Yeah.
So you're a homeowner, right? And you're driving around town, you're going to work, the supermarket, whatever, and you see signs of this candidate. And then the campaign knocks on your door and they ask, have you heard of him? I go, yeah, I've seen his signs. You see, it works together. It's like you're never going to reach peak physical shape just by dieting. You're never going to reach peak physical shape just by exercising. But if you do both together, you can really throw your fitness and your health and everything to a higher level. So yard signs work together with door-to-door campaigning, work together with text banking, work together with phone calls, work together with mailers. And all of those things together, you bake it and you get the cake. That's my answer on yard signs. Okay. You guys see Marco Rubio yesterday? Let me just let me read to you something I posted on April 13th. I just want to prove to you you're not wasting your time here, okay? April 13th, I posted the following. Are there any mines? I'll show you. Like, there you go. Are there any mines in the Strait of Hormuz? Come on, get on the screen. There you go. Are there any mines in the Strait of Hormuz? You see it on your screen right there, right? The Iranians are allegedly said they don't even know where the mines are. How do you forget where the mines are? Did they place mines? Nobody knows for sure. But the mere threat of mines in the Strait has caused a major issue. Now, imagine if the threat of mines is this significant. Imagine how much worse it would be if they had nuclear weapons. Iran is holding the world hostage without nuclear weapons. They cannot be allowed to obtain a nuke. Ever. Okay. Well, I'm just going to play for you Marco Rubio basically saying that exact thing yesterday, filling in for Karoline Leavitt. He's got a new job, interim press secretary. He should do this every day. He was great yesterday. Listen.
Everybody needs to think about it this way. If Iran had a nuclear weapon and they decided to close the straits and make our gas prices like $9 a gallon or $8 a gallon, we wouldn't be able to do anything about it because they have a nuclear weapon. And a nuclear-armed Iran could do whatever the hell they want with the straits, and there's nothing anyone would be able to do about it. And that's one of the many reasons, apart from like the massive loss of life in a nuclear strike, why Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. I mean, so this is an example of if they had a nuclear weapon, they closed the straits and they would tell the world, what are you going to do about it? We have a nuclear weapon. We can attack you with it. That's the world none of us want to leave behind. It won't happen under this president's watch, but some future president and future, and the future Americans will have to deal with this. So it's just one more example of why these guys can never be allowed to have a nuclear weapon.
I mean, did he read my tweet? He follows me on Instagram. Did he read my tweet? No, it's just common sense. April 13th, I posted that Iran is holding the world hostage without nuclear weapons. They cannot be allowed to obtain a nuke ever. Here is Rubio again on that very topic.
The president basically said is that Iran can't have a nuclear weapon because they would use it against places that have a lot of Catholics and Christians and others for that matter. It goes back to the central point. I think the president, without trying to speak for him, but I think I can characterize it this way. He doesn't understand why anybody, leave aside the Pope, the president, and I, for that matter, I think most people, I cannot understand why anyone would think that it's a good idea for Iran to ever have a nuclear weapon. Look what they're doing with the straits right now. They're holding the whole world hostage. They have these sailors, on commercial ships that are going to starve to death out there. They don't care. They don't care that this is melting down the economies around the world, even of their own allies. This is what they're doing with the straits. What do you think they would do if they had a nuclear weapon? They would hold the world hostage with that nuclear weapon. That's what they would do. They would do exactly to the world with a nuclear weapon what they're doing now with the straits. And I think the president's point is how anyone cannot see that as an unacceptable outcome and an unacceptable risk is beyond him. It's puzzling. And someone has to do something about it. The difference between this president and like the 6 presidents that preceded him were that he's the only one that's actually been willing to do something about it. Everyone says Iran can't have a nuclear weapon, but you got to do something about it at some point. And he's been willing to address that threat. And that's what he promised he would do when he got elected, by the way, is address threats like this.
I mean, I'm not going to even offer any other commentary because I said the same thing a couple weeks ago. I would admit I'm getting a little impatient with the, resolution here, but we got to let it play out. These things don't happen overnight. Donald Trump also announcing that, we're ending or pausing Project Freedom because, again, we're giving Iran a chance to make a deal, which I'm like, here we go again. We're going around in circles, but it's not out of character for Trump to do this. This is how he operates. He always wants to make a deal first. Fine. That is what we voted for. That is what we voted for. I said with Israel and Gaza, I said if I was Bibi Netanyahu, I would have gone. There would be no Hamas. Gone. Goodbye. And if I was Trump and Iran, I don't know. They're doing things a little differently. Hey, we'll see where it goes. I maintain this, that there is nobody else that I'd want in charge than this administration dealing with Iran right now. Okay, finally. Nick Fuentes has come out of the closet. No, he's not gay yet. But he's just about there because he admitted the thing that we've been saying about him for a long time. He admitted that he's a Democrat, folks. We told you. All the people who are, oh, Nick Fuentes is on your side. Stop attacking your own side. Stop the infighting. It's never infighting. He's a Democrat. Don't just listen to me. Listen to him.
I care about affordability. I care about foreign interventions. I care about the border. I'm a non-woke moderate Democrat. I think the GOP needs to be destroyed. I think the corrupt criminal government of Trump needs to be slowed down. We need to impeach the orange. It's time to put this nigga in a peach. Trump needs to be placed inside of a crystal. He needs to be impeached. This fat orange tiny hands needs to be impeached. And then in 28, no Vance, no Rubio. We have to burn down the whole party.
There he is. There he is. Oh, stop the infighting. Nick Fuentes and you have a lot more in common. Nope, I'm not a moderate Democrat. Hell no. Next time, you idiots, not you in the chat, the folks that were doing the stop the infighting, just listen. The signs were always there. And now I have groypers. Oh, but that's AI. That's not AI. I know you're ashamed of them. That's not AI. You've been duped. Whether it was willfully, oh, I love this, or ignorance, you've been duped. It was a psyop the whole time. You have her, you have Fuentes, you have Candace saying we have to unite with the populist left. Ian Carroll saying the same thing. The whole time it was a psyop. We were right again. Jeremy Harrell up next here on rumble.com/LFA TV. We're off to join the great Michael Patrick Leahy talking about all things Tennessee on the Michael Patrick Leahy Show from 11 a.m. to 12 Central Time. Check it out at Michael P. Leahy on X. Jeremy Harrell up next here on rumble.com/LFA TV. Make sure you hit that follow button. Make sure you hit that like button. We appreciate everybody for being here. Great night for the good guys last night, and I think more great nights are ahead. As President Trump would say, we will never give up. We will never give in. We will never, ever surrender. And if all else fails, we'll just become ungovernable. Thank you. God bless you. God bless this one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Have a great rest of your Wednesday. We'll honk them. I don't know if we should or shouldn't, but I did it anyway because it is Mo, and it's a good day. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back here tomorrow, same time, same place. Rumble.com/LFA TV. Jeremy Harrell up next here on rumble.com/LFA TV. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and thank you for your attention to this matter.